contract? Okay, anybody know what a land trust is? Okay, good, I'm impressed. First time anybody's ever raised their hand. A land trust is a private agreement between two parties to hold title to real estate anonymously. Okay, President Obama owns his house in Chicago in a land trust. Well, let me back up a second. The house that he lives in is held in a land trust. His attorney is the trustee of that land trust. We don't know who the beneficiary is, and he spent $12 million defending that privacy to not let anybody know who the beneficiary is. Barack Obama. Why? Who is the beneficiary?
He gets paid $400,000 a year.
You don't understand politics.
He gets a whole lot more than that, maybe.
Yeah, he's made a lot of money in book sales.
Oh,
But as the president, doesn't he have full access to legal counsel? Especially if it's a matter of
Security.
national security. And I think the Chinese government owns it. Or anybody else. Who knows? We don't know. And the funny thing is the mystery around it is exactly what the purpose of the land trust is. Nobody can compel him to disclose who the beneficiary is. Is that cool?
Oh,
So-
because the trustee is an attorney, therefore it's a client attorney.
Well, he can be subpoenaed, right? But you have to prove cause. There has to be a crime
And if there is a
committed.
cause, you just get a new trustee.
My land trust document says to the trustee, if there is any action taken against the trust, you must resign immediately. And then I appoint a new one. And then he gets served and he resigns.
This is the Randy Hughes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. He and Randy are buddies.
Who's
Okay.
Randy
Me too.
Hughes?
Randy Hughes is a he's Mr. Land Trust. You can look him up online.
There's another guy called Banks, isn't that Banks?
I don't know.
He does probates. He doesn't do.
Yeah,
He's not. Jim Banks is not an attorney.
When I started using the land trust, I called everybody that was selling land trusts because I did corporations, and transferred corporations, and that's expensive. But long story short, I called him on the phone and he answered the phone, and him and I talked on the phone for about an hour and a half, and I bought his $1,000 program because I was like, okay, this totally makes sense to me.
Great investment, huh?
Best money in education that I've ever spent. So what I do now as an investor, I use it to flip. So I buy all my houses in a land trust. Okay? And the reason I do that, number one, is my contract is not assignable, right? Okay? But I can assign the beneficial interest of my land trust, and nobody knows it. It's done in my office, and it's done on forms on my computer. Nobody ever knows. So let's use an example. I get this house under contract. I haven't even closed on it yet. I call you up and I say, here's the deal. You look at the thing on your own, you do your own due diligence, say, Cliff, I'll give you $2,000 as a finder's fee for that. Let me just take over the contract. I direct my trustee to assign you 100% of the beneficial interest for the sum of $2,000, and any and all obligations thereof are yours now. As soon as the $2,000 comes in and clears, you get the paperwork, it's yours. Now you execute the contract and I'm done. I made $2,000, or $2,500.
So when you offer the contract, you really don't put your name on the initial, you put the
Correct.
trust.
It's the trustee. The trustee care of the ABC 123 LLC 12734 Land Trust. Yes.
So then, to transfer the beneficial interest, so you have your trustee and then your beneficiary. So who do you use as a beneficiary?
Well, I have an LLC that is a beneficiary on mine, which the general partner of the LLC is a formal trust. So it's all pass-through entities, and then I get a salary from somewhere in there.
Complicated.
It's complicated, but it's really not.
Beneficiary of
the beneficiary on my land trust is an LLC.
Which everybody here should have.
Yes. And the LLC, the general partner, because you only have, you have members of an LLC, is a trust, a formal trust.
Well, I think Cliff, keep it really simple is you make your land trust out in the address of the property, okay? And you sign as the trustee of the land trust. The beneficial interest can be your LLC or whoever, but your trustee, is you at that point.
Yeah. I've got an even better scenario.
I'm just saying keep it simple for these guys, But yeah,
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'll just add one caveat. Because I put 300, 400, 500 offers in every week, I put the name of a land trust, and then I put a number on the end. So if I put in ABC 123 LLC 347 or 100, if I get an accepted offer out of those 400 offers, I just keep it the same. If I get 2 accepted offers, I add a digit to the end of that number. So it would be, instead of 100, it would be 1001. And I tell them it was a typographical error, and you guys missed the 1 on the back of my name. I mean, you did it wrong. And what do the agents say? Oh, we're sorry, and they put a 1 on the back. If I go to them and say, hey, you guys put this in the ABC 123 LLC 100, and it's actually there's a camera staring at me, land trust, they're not going to want to change it because they're going to think hokey pokey. So I've learned that by adding 1 more number on the back, it eliminates all that. What are you doing? You're doing something weird. You're trying to change the name of the borrower. The seller's not going to prove that. Anytime you try to change, they freak out. But if you say it's a typographical error, you missed the 1 on the back or the 3 or the 2, then it's just a clerical error, a typographical error.
When do you have to make that change? I'm sorry.
When they accept it,
Oh, so you're just.
so let's say I put out 500 offers and 3 of them get accepted. Okay. Well, if they're all in the same name of the same land trust,
Oh, I see.
I want to differentiate them, so I just added a number to the back
So
of it.
you create a land trust to do a certain number of offers,
Mhm.
and then if you get things accepted, you just
Change accordingly.
change it.
Do you guys get that?
Yeah.
So you made 3 offers, it would be Cliff 1, 2, and 3.
Correct. I just add a 1 or 2 or 3 to the back of it.
3 got accepted, you just go, oops.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to have 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, very cool.
That's worth about 15 grand if you want to put a value to that. And you guys are like just going right over here.
But start with making 1 offer first.
Yeah.
But if
I know.
you're making so many
They're
offers,
making that.
does it cost to set up the land
Most
trust?
of us.
No, here's the cool thing. Remember I told you I used to do LLCs and it took so much money to do that? Every time you make an offer in an LLC, what do they want to see?
Operating.
Is it the real deal? Is it an official, in good standing entity? So you got to send in all that paperwork. With a land trust, and does it cost to set up an LLC?
Yes.
So if I'm going to put 500 offers in, I got to put 500 offers in the name of that LLC, and then if I get 3 offers accepted, I can't just change the LLC because it doesn't work that way. Right? I'd have to form another LLC, which is $1,000, $1,500. Yeah.
800.
Well, if you expedite, because if you got a contract now, you need it done tomorrow. So you got to pay that, what is it, $500 expedition fee.
So then if Duncan wants to buy that property from you, then the beneficial interest, how is that then?
Okay, there's a form called assignment of beneficial interest.
Okay.
So I would call my trustee, who is my attorney, and I would say I want to assign to Duncan 100% of the beneficial interest of the land trust, and he's given me a check for $15,000 for that.
But in reality, you don't have to go anybody, you can just change it yourself.
Well, I create the form
Right.
because I have to legally I need to direct my trustee to do it, so I fill out a direction form.
That's a form. there.
Yeah, there's a form for that.
And you were in the process, you said you don't have to you have to send paperwork for an LLC, but with the land trust, you don't have to send.
Yeah, they say, hey, we don't know if this is a legitimate land trust. Well, the technical legal definition of a land trust is it isn't a land trust until the property is in it. Okay? So at closing is when the birth of the land trust occurs, when they put it in title. Okay?
Why don't you just use a different name for each offer, each trust for each offer?
Because then I got to fill out all those papers.
But you can just create one for each, oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I do 500 to 1,000 offers a month. So if I'm doing that, I don't want to write 1,500, 500 or 1,000 offers, names of land trust. I only fill out one land trust form and add something to the back of it.
Could you not like have a land trust for address? Summer Hill.
I don't like doing that,
No?
just because now I'm going back and I'm writing individual land trusts for every offer.
And
So
it
by
gives people
using
more
just
information.
huh?
And it gives people more information than they need to have.
Yeah. Basically, it's trying to reach it, and the water's there. So what happens is by filling out one form and doing it once, I only need to change it when I need to change it. Okay, and then I rectify it at that point in time. Now here's the cool thing: if I get the property in the name of a land trust, I can again wholesale it before I even close on it. I can close on it and wholesale it. But I just want to back up 1 second. The first thing they're going to do is, for an LLC, they ask for all the documentation. When they ask for the documentation on your land trust, you explain to them that it's an agreement, a legal agreement between two parties to buy and hold real estate anonymously. So if I give you all that information, it defeats the purpose. So here's what I do. I send them over a blank copy of the 32-page land trust. And they call me up and they say, it's blank. And I says, the only thing you need to see or know is I can send you over a certification of land trust, which I fill out on my computer, and I certify that it is a land trust. You get that?
Wow.
And I send that over there, and their attorney says, oh, that's sufficient. All happens where? In my desk, in my computer. Everything. Cost me nothing to form it or fill it out or anything. Cost me $1,000 to buy the program. And I've made well beyond my initial investment. Now here's the cool thing. If what happens, then I do get the property in control because they say, okay, we'll accept this offer and we accept the land trust. One of the things that you're going to want to say is, how long have you been in the real estate business? You don't know what a land trust is? Do you have somebody else that can work with my deal? Because did you just start last week? How many people in here heard about a land trust before we start talking about it? Not many. How many realtors know about it?
Zero.
Hardly any. What's a land trust? You know who Lassie is? Right?
And attorneys also.
Attorneys don't. They spend about 3 to 5 minutes in law school explaining what a land trust is. You want to know why? Because they can form a trust.
They don't get paid for it. That's
They can
why.
form a trust, a legitimate legal trust entity, or LLCs and corporations, and charge you thousands of dollars because it's really difficult to understand.
Escrow companies also question it, like we just recently closed on a property where we bought it on a trust, and then the owner was.
Was it a trust or
Yeah,
a land
we
trust?
bought it on a land trust.
Okay.
And then the LLC, I mean, we're the trustee, we were the trustees and beneficiaries. And they questioned it, remember, Steve? Yeah, they go, what? We've never seen this before. And
Well,
so-
you were both the
Yeah.
trustee and the
Yeah, because
beneficiary?
we're both members of
But
the
you can't.
LLC.
But you can't.
You can't.
That's not a trust. That was the problem.
Yeah.
We created a trust for the property.
But you
Right.
can't be both the beneficiary and the
Trustee.
trustee.
No, the LLC is the trustee, right?
Yeah, you still
But we're
can't do
both-
that.
We're both members
Can't-
of the
you
LLC.
can't.
You can't do that.
But we did it.
Yeah, that's what the problem was.
That's,
Well, there was
yeah.
no problem, it went through. But anyway.
Oh,
there is a problem.
But then-
Yeah, there's a problem.
But then on the LLC, like when we got the paperwork, we wanted it to be anonymous, right? We wanted it to be.
Sure.
Trust 1, 2, 3.
Right.
And then it came back as trust 1, 2, 3 / Steve.
Yes, it'll say the name of the trustee, care of or /
Right.
then the name of the
Trustee.
the land
Yeah,
trust.
so that kind
And
of.
they do it
defeats the purpose.
backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Right.
So like if it was Cliff Gager, trustee for the ABC 123 LLC, or they'll do ABC 123 LLC, Cliff Gager trustee.
But
Yeah.
how do you avoid that if you don't want?
That's why my attorney is the one that does that, and nobody knows who the beneficiary is on my properties.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to do it the way you did it.
And
I didn't know.
And, well, it's okay, but here's what happens. If you have litigation now, the judge can strip your LLC because you are both parties without being an arm's length transaction, or without having an arm's length
Yeah,
in the transaction.
and there's no anonymity there
Yeah.
anyway, because people can go look up the LLC.
So there's no
and see-
trust.
Right.
Huh?
Anyway,
So
people can
if
look up the
something
LLC as
happened
who's the owners and
and you got sued, they could just tear that right apart and go after you individually.
So could we not like have a corporation put a lien on the?
No, because the judge will strip that too. They're getting really savvy. So what you want is you want total anonymity. And total anonymity, it doesn't work if you're the trustee. If you need to maintain the beneficiary in an LLC. Now they can look up the LLC and see what you own, can't they? Sometimes if they pull your tax returns.
Yeah.
Or even, yeah, Secretary of State, who
Yeah.
the owners of and all that.
If you
yeah.
file out the statement of information and make yourself a member.
Yeah.
Right.